SIP, Kumar Swami is back in 2 sessions. Shashikant, SIP Raju, SIP Gaurish, SIP Samatma, SIP Sagairaj, SIP Rekha Parvani, and the rest. I know that there is a signal issue. Yogini, SIP Yogini, SIP Gautam. There's a storm today in Kashmir, so I hope we are able to see you and make this. SIP Eru. There is a huge storm. SIP Bliko, SIP Sagairaj, and I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that we are able to. But you can hear me, right? There is no hearing issue. SIP Girish, is the audio okay? Audio. Good. What matters is audio. Administrator, what is the session that we are having today? What I see is the session is, can we prove enlightenment? Can the subject enlightenment be proved? Like you can prove your birthday through a birth certificate. You can prove your graduation. You can prove what is you're the owner of certain stocks and shares. Can you prove enlightenment? So that is the question, and I throw it open to you for answers. I see many of you. Bridget from Canada, I hope I can see you and you can hear me. Bliko, do we have a clear connection? Rumataji, welcome. Devika. Sunil Chittal. So I hope we are in good shape. Administrator, are we okay? Are the audio video is okay to go?
All good. Eh?
Good. Good. So we are back to the question. Can we prove enlightenment? Who would like to go? I see Sudeep Bhargava. Sudeep Bhargava. Yes.
Shivam, sir.
Shivam, Sudeep.
Proving the enlightenment cannot be proved. I don't think there is any logical proof that can be given to it, although it can be inferred. So the inference can be drawn from the deep sleep, because when we are in the deep sleep, the body, mind, and ego are switched off. None of them is working. And that is what gives us a lot of peace and satisfaction. So that means there is something which can give me a lot of peace and satisfaction, provided that I'm able to switch off my body, mind, and ego even when I'm awake state. The deep sleep state gives me that small experience that it can be done. So if I can do that switching off of body, mind, and ego even in the wake state, so I think that is what is close to enlightenment, but not exactly. So the inference can be drawn that there is something, some state.
How can you even convince yourself? How can you even tell yourself, Sudeep, yes, I am enlightened? How do you get that feeling?
No, I don't think I will ever.
Proof is a higher word.
No, I don't think I will be able to prove it myself that I'm enlightened. That I don't think.
Why not?
I should not be even doing that for that matter, because I could be wrong if I draw that inference today that I'm enlightened, although I may not be far away from being enlightened. But even if I draw that inference, I think that would be the wrong thing to do. So I think for that I need to come to you as a guru, and then you can tell me where I am.
Suppose tomorrow I'm in Timbuktu for 3 months and you lose connection, and you get certain experiences which bring about the question, am I enlightened? How would you be able to reconcile?
So one thing that
whether you are enlightened or not,
that whatever peace and the happiness that I'm getting, that should not be driven by the senses. If it is coming through any of the senses, then this is perfectly, I mean, I'm sure it is not enlightenment if it's coming through one of the sense organ. If the happiness is without senses, it is coming from inside, then that could be something maybe like a milestone towards enlightenment, if not completely enlightenment.
So what do you think are those milestones that you just spoke about? Samatma will take you next, Samatma. So what do you think are those? See, what my point is, all of you on this call, you seek enlightenment. The common thing, whether it's Kumar Swami, Girish, everybody is going towards the goal, one goal, enlightenment. The question, how do I know? For example, if I'm going to Delhi, or for that matter, let's make it easier, going to Agra, How do I know I reached Agra? If I go and I see the Taj Mahal, I can be quite sure I'm in Agra. You get my point? Do you need anybody to prove that you're in Agra if you see the Taj Mahal is there in front of you? You don't need to prove, right? You say the Taj is in front of me. I'm in Agra. So that is the kind of similarity I'm trying to draw. So Sudeep, I'm sure you'll have some more thoughts. So I don't want you to end, Sudeep, there. I want you to, because today is a little introspective session. So Samatma, Kumar Swami, and then Ashok Nichani. But Samatma first.
Shivoham, sir. So I feel there is really no need to prove that you are enlightened, because an enlightened soul doesn't feel the need to prove it, because proof is a need of the ego. So an enlightened soul may be so down to earth that she herself may not even realize that she's enlightened, because she's always in Satchidanand, no attachments, and nothing can really move her, because she's in control of everything. Because ego is the one which tells you, give me proof. So an enlightened person does not need any proof at all.
So beautiful. I really like what you said. What you said is that the ego should not need to prove. I am completely with you. But here, I am not asking that Samatma has to prove to Bliko. Let's not take the ego aspect into this. Suppose Bliko wants to prove to Bliko, not even prove. Bliko wants to be convinced I am enlightened. I'm asking from that perspective. What,
There
like
are
I gave you the.
souls.
Yeah.
If I am totally, if I can live with detached attachment, if I am free from all my samsaric duties, and I am always in Satchitanand, then I can say maybe I'm going towards that point. But I cannot say I've reached that point.
I like your answer. You are now thinking in the right direction, and I'm asking you to introspect a little bit more while the call is happening. You need the help of a pen and a paper, but try to see. I want you all to be able. Enlightenment is an individual journey, right? I can't tell हितकारी जी आ जाओ, मैं कल आपको enlightenment का injection देता हूँ. फटाक एक इंजेक्शन डालेंगे, कल मॉर्निंग आप उठेंगे, आप बोलेंगे चारों तरफ मुझे चांद नजर आ रहा है. क्या किया आपने? कौन सा इंजेक्शन आपने डाला? डालेंगे एक इंजेक्शन डाला, पूरा चांद ही चांद दिख रहा है. This is the problem with many gurus. I'm sorry to say it. The problem with many gurus who will come and tell you, पुत्र तुम्हारे सर के ऊपर हमने हाथ दिया, अब तुम्हारा बेड़ा पार हो जाएगा. ये क्या हुआ? तुमने सर पे हाथ रखा, बेड़ा पार हो जाएगा. ये कैसे होगा? So this is what confuses us. Samatma has taken the step in the right direction, and the ship gave me the right analogy at the right moment, that when you reach the Taj Mahal, you don't need to prove you're in Agra. You are relatively sure, unless like these days, if you go to Las Vegas, you will see the Eiffel Tower. You will see Statue of Liberty, because every casino is in the shape. There's even probably a Taj Mahal in Las Vegas, which is a miniature version of the real Taj. Who was next, Kumar Swami or Ashok Nichani? But I'm leaving Sudeep, Samatma for you to come back on the call with your thoughts. Is it Kumar Swami or Ashok Nichani? Who would like to go next?
Okay, Shivam Guruji.
Shivam, sir.
Just now you said the proof of the birth is a birth certificate. The proof of the any education is also a certificate. I have finished a graduation. But here, what happens? The proof of it is a self-proof of who experiences the eternal bliss is a self-declaration. That is called Aham Brahmasmi. So continuously, that means eternal bliss who experiences. He is an enlightened person. That is a certificate by himself. He can produce. I am Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. He can declare that. That only the self. Other person cannot recognize him, but he himself can tell that he can give the statement.
How? My question. You're right. You are absolutely right. How will you, by just telling Aham Brahmasmi, will you become Brahma?
Because, sir, I am experiencing
By telling,
when I am experiencing the eternal bliss, then automatically I am becoming Aham Brahmasmi.
okay, let me challenge you in one small way, Kumar Swami. You're right. What you say is correct. Please don't take me wrong. Suppose today night I take a lot of ganja. I take a lot of ganja and I experience that eternal bliss. That means I am Brahmasmi. I can keep on shouting, I am Brahmasmi.
The bliss should be continuous. It should not anand of it. It should not break. It's a continuous bliss, eternal bliss. I'm talking about. So now you are taking ganja. That's it. That at the time only you are the happiness. But when you are not taking ganja, you will be in. So I'm talking about eternal bliss. Who experiences that is the proof of enlightenment.
You are absolutely right. So what I'm requesting, Kumar Swami, what I'm saying, there are few more tenets that experiencing bliss is not sufficient for me to be completely convinced that I am enlightened. If I want to feel that state of enlightenment, there are few more attributes. We have to be sure of why I'm telling you this, Kumar Swami. Then we will be able to evaluate how much am I close to that destination, that peak of enlightenment. You know, Administrator, what are we doing this Friday? We're doing Stop It Stupid, or what are we doing this Friday?
When I realized when I seen the God in everybody and everywhere, that is the final realization, na?
Now you're coming with a better point. Now you're coming with an advanced point, Kumar Swami. You get my point, Kumar Swami. Now you're coming not only bliss, but when I see SIP, the supreme immortal power, everywhere, then when I see that the wave is not a wave, the wave is part of the ocean, then I have the realization I am in consciousness, not just I'm in Ananda, I am Sat Chit Ananda, I am also in that state, what you said, Satyam Shivam Sundaram.
Yes.
When you reach that state, that everything beautiful is a manifestation of the divine, then you're reaching closer to that feeling that I am enlightened. Administrator, what are we doing this Friday, Administrator?
Starting and ending of enlightenment there.
Thank you. So this Friday, Kumar Swami, this Friday, I am talking of the topic, very interesting topic. When I got the spark,
Yes.
I became the Atma and Ravi, AiR, in 2014.
Yes.
But that's not the moment I got all the realizations.
Yes.
2014, 2015, 2016, 2017. So till today, I'm struggling. See, I believe that it is such a difficult subject that I can't even tell you in words. Is it something like I can tell you 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is equal to 8? Can I give a formula like that to you?
No, you cannot. You cannot.
So let us try to get everybody's inputs. And by the end of the session today, we will know what are those, like Taj, Agra. What are those attributes which make us feel enlightened? Ashok Nichani, then Girish.
Shivam Sarji.
Sure, Ashok.
Sarji, my answer was somewhat what you just explained. Half of that was what you explained right now. A person who's in full consciousness, a person who's in full consciousness, and he realizes that whomever he is talking to is the divine. Audio problem, Sarji.
Okay.
Now can you hear me, Sarji?
I can hear you.
Yeah, yes, Sarji. A person when he's in full consciousness,
Yeah.
and he realizes that everyone, whomever he meets is divine, living things, trees, animals, everything. When he realizes that they are all divine. He looks at them as divine. Then he has proved that he is enlightened.
But is that all, Ashok? If a person sees divinity, suppose today I teach a child to say tree is divine, lake is divine, mountain is divine, everything is divine, then the child is like a parrot. He tells everything is divine because he has taught everything is divine.
No, the person
Is that enough?
The person who is enlightened, when he sees the divine in everyone,
How can you see the divine?
you can you can accept that the person is SIP, whoever I'm talking to.
Yeah, you experience or you treat those people, every human being. So
every human being,
insan,
plants, animals, when we see the divine in them, we realize that we have been enlightened. Audio. Sarji, I'm not able to hear you.
And we lost you.
now can you got me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So I'm on two devices because one device goes off, another device comes on. So Ashok, what you're saying is correct, but we are trying to get, it's not like Taj Mahal, Agra, Agya. No, enlightenment is a little bit more complicated.
Like when we come out of the darkness.
But okay, and then what happened?
We come out of the darkness. See, always unless we are enlightened, we are in darkness. When we are enlightened, we come to know that it is that when we see the light inside.
So at what point can I see everything? Enlightenment, you can't say I can see what, for example, Kumar Swami said, who started saying we should be in bliss. Someone about Ananda. I'm not sure who started with the conversation. But it's not one point. It's many things that how do I? Okay, if I reach the ocean. Can you hear me, administrator? See me, hear me? Girish, am I okay?
Yes, you're okay.
Okay. Suppose I reach the ocean. Can I be sure I'm in Kanyakumari? I may be in Goa. I may be in Chennai. I may be anywhere else. When can I be sure I'm in Kanyakumari? When, for example, on the right side, I see the sunrise. Sorry, on the left side, I see sunrise in the Bay of Bengal. And then in the evening, I see the sunset in the Arabian Sea. I know I'm at a point which may be Kanyakumari. So what are all those points when we experience that we can tell ourselves, I can feel, you don't have to prove yourself. But when can you be convinced? I'm using the different term. When can you be convinced that you are enlightened? I think we have got Rumataji, Girish, and Sunil. Anybody can go.
You can see the divine in the ocean and the sun.
Lovely. I like your answer, Ashok. What you say is correct. What you say is beautiful, and what you say is correct. But I don't think we have got the entire answer. So let's try. I want everybody to contribute today. Rumataji, Girish, and Sunil Chittal. Who wants to go?
Yes, Shivam Sarji.
When by aparoksh anubhuti, one person can clearly see, I am not the body which will die. I am not the ego. I am not the mind and its contents. I am the eternal soul which will never die. And the so-called others are also divine souls like me, which is a part of Paramatma, even though part which is never apart from the Paramatma. then
So you have
it
given
can be said that it is
you
a
have given
proof
a
for
brilliant
himself
answer.
that he is enlightened. And also see that
You have given a brilliant, brilliant answer. But what you have given is only the face of the horse. Brilliant answer. What you say without that, Girish, whatever anybody says is not valid. Unless you get that anubhuti. Fantastic, fantastic word. Unless you get that anubhuti. What anubhuti? I'm not this body. This body is going to die, man. We look at a photograph and say, wow, see, that is me, that is me. What me? Nonsense. What me? That is my body. One day this body will die. When you get the anubhuti, the experience, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the ego. So reach that point where you, what we say, what Bridget's favorite words are, neti, neti, tattvamasi. You reach that point. And then when you reach that point, neti, neti, tattvamasi, and what Ashok said, Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram, and I forget who started, who said we must be in that state of Ananda, and we said Satchit Ananda. So we are going step by step forward. Correct? They want somebody's fallen or what? Want some painkiller? Ask them, they want painkiller, there's here, this in the bag. Sorry. Yes, please. So we will go next to Ru Mataji, Sunil Chittal. So we are collecting more and more
Pranam Guruji, Shivoham.
points.
शिवोहम
नमस्कार
प्रणाम
रू माता
गुरुजी
जी, बताइए।
नमस्कार गुरुजी, आपने मेरे बात मेरी बोल दी कि when we will realize Satyam Shivam Sundaram in our life, then we will be enlightened. और जब रूह की तरह हम रहेंगे, रूह हर रूह से प्यार करेगी, हर ड्यूअलिटी नहीं रहेगी, हर एक को सेम समझेंगे, प्रभु को प्यार करेंगे, प्रभु के बंदों से प्यार करेंगे, then we will reach. जब कोई डिफरेंस नहीं रहेगा किसी में, किसी न रिच न पुअर, तब एनलाइटनमेंट की तरफ जाएंगे.
So that is, see what tablet they want. You show him the package, whatever he wants, he can take from that.
Sure.
Okay. So with that point, just now what happened, somebody's, I don't know who, but somebody has had a fall in the house. I'm in a houseboat. But even though this call is going on, you feel that there is a divine presence in somebody. And I interrupted and I said, take the tablet from my bag and please give the tablet, because that sensitivity has to be there. And that sensitivity, Kumar Swami said so many things about being in Ananda. And who else? Sudeep Bhargava spoke about Satchidanand. Sudeep, you took the lead role today. You spoke about Satchitanand and things. So let us hear Sunil Chittal. Sunil Chittal.
Sure, Guruji. Person can know that he is enlightened moment he can live. He can see that he is living in the life of Chitta Prajna. Man upman doesn't affect him.
Excellent.
That Dvaitas never affect him. Sadness or pleasure never affects him, and he can easily have that anubhuti. And he is in a position to identify, as I normally put it, he can see the inaction in action and action in inaction. So he is able to live in that vigilance or realization from moment to moment. And if the samsara hits him, he is able to use his viveka and vairagya to dissociate and again live yourself as a witness. And when person starts living like this, actually he has that anubhuti, and that he can feel that yes, he is now living a life where he is identifying the samsara and dissociating, and at the same time he does his karma and everything he does, but then he does it with the sense of devotion, and he performs all the 4 yogas as long as he is in this body and mind.
See how excellently we are all putting the pieces of the puzzle together. I did not mention Samatma. Samatma gave some important pieces of the puzzle in the beginning. I'm sorry, I get so confused sometimes because my attention is, please pardon me, sometime when I first two pieces of the puzzle was brought by Sudeep and Samatma, and then other people put the puzzle together. But what Sunil Chittal is saying is so beautiful. The word Sthita Pragya. Unless you feel Sthita Pragya, Sthita Pragya can only happen for a person who is in Chit. Chit means you're in consciousness. Only in consciousness, the Pragya, the intellect, will be Sthit. Sthit means it will be steady. Then Sunil says, then we have to be in yoga, which means that you must be a yogi. If you are a yogi, then you realize that yogi jo yog mein sada hi rahe, Prabhu ke yog mein. So you are in, so it's not just like I told Kumar Swami, right? Not just taking ganja. No, it is eternal happiness. Kumar Swami made a point clear. It's not momentary happiness. It is Sat Chit Anand. Then Sat Chit Anand, Girish pushed us back. Girish said, no, first Neti Neti Tattvamasi. Anubhuti. Neti Tattvamasi Anubhuti Satyam Shivam Sundaram Sat Chit Anand Sthit Pragya. Jivan Mukta. Nobody spoke about Jivan Mukta. Being able to see the freedom. And then finally, one of the most beautiful things to get this feeling of enlightenment is to say, Samarpan karna, Jivan joye, jisne diya, wahi sambhalenge, jo bhi hota, uski marzi hai, arpan karna, manzoor karna hai. So the person who is enlightened learns to live a life of surrender. He doesn't get upset. If the dogs are barking, if some dogs are barking, he is like a moon that is shining. He is not influenced by others' opinion about him. For example, there are many realized people who people gossip about, who people throw garbage. People will throw so many bad things, bad accusations. So will the Jivan Mukta be affected by that? The Jivan Mukta says, "Tum jo bolna hai, tum bolo." Huh? How does it matter to me? So therefore, when we reach all these points, then you see what? Finally, to put all these points together, you see, ye leela hai maya, kuch bhi sach to na. So now you get all the points. It's not just Agra, Taj Mahal. Enlightenment is not like that. Enlightenment is a little bit more difficult to experience. So with that, I submit it back to you before we close. Did you get what I'm saying? Shivoham, yes, Rekha.
I have a point. One more.
Yes.
Is like when we realize, I am nothing, thou art everything. I am nothing, Tattvamasi.
Very good. Very good. Very good. So I know Tattvamasi is different.
Yes.
This is,
I am
remember
nothing.
we spoke yesterday?
Yes.
We said, no, yesterday we said something. The non-enlightened person will say, the non-enlightened person will say my way or the highway.
Yes.
And the enlightened person will say my way, not my way. Not my
Right.
way, thy way.
Right.
Not my way.
Yes.
Thy way. Huh? I am nothing, thou art everything. मैं एक बांसुरी प्रभु कुछ भी नहीं, संगीत है तेरा मैं कुछ भी नहीं. When the realization I am just like a flute. Okay. We'll open this up for 5 minutes of questions before we close.
Here I have a few comments.
Anybody wants to ask any questions? Because today was a heavy lesson.
I have a few typed
Yes,
comments.
please go ahead. I thought Dasi Budran is saying some comment.
Yes, Mr. Budrani has said, one cannot prove enlightenment. If one is enlightened, one should not prove.
Absolutely. Dasi, you are absolutely right. But being on the call, Dasi, though you are on audio, I hope you heard. We are not telling that we need to clap and tell, no enlightened person will clap and tell everybody, hello, 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 I'm enlightened. That is the first mark to say you're not enlightened. The enlightened person will just shine. When you shine, people will see the light. You don't have to blow your trumpet. Correct, Dasi? I hope you agree. You just have to shine. But because if you don't shine, then your enlightenment is wasted. You must shine. You must shine that enlightenment light to one and all. Yes, Administrator, what else is there to be said?
Yogini says, humility is one of the milestone of enlightenment.
Yes and no. Yogini, humility, it can be a milestone also of the non-enlightened. But you're right. Humility is an important aspect. I didn't like that. There are many aspects. There'll be kindness, humility, truthfulness, honesty. Because I am talking about advanced points. Like I think Ru Mataji said, Ru se Ru ka pyar. Now, Ru Mataji always, she's in love with Prema Yoga. So she always brings that out. But today Sunil Chittal said, no, you must be in the state of yoga. Because the moment you are enlightened, you remain a yogi, not a bhogi. And then that means you're not enlightened. I gave you example of some saints in our country. Then they are running after Rolex watches and Rolls Royce and drugs. Then what is enlightenment then? Where is enlightenment? Means what Kumar Swami agreed, you don't need artificial stimulants. An enlightened person doesn't need an artificial injection or stimulant to get a kick. He's in nasha. Prabhu ke pyar mein aisa ek nasha hai. Prabhu ko prem kar.
You're frozen, Air. We lost you.
Any yoga, whatever be the yoga, dhyana yoga, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, prema yoga, you are in that state of yoga. So any more questions?
Kavita says, when I see sip in everything, I can realize I am enlightened.
Very good. But how do you see sip in everything? It starts with what Girish said, neti neti tattvamasi. Then only you can reach that state of Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Then only you can see the state what Kumar Swami said, Aham Brahmasmi. Then only you can reach that state of Ananda, of Satchit Ananda. So what is that? Any more points? Administrator?
Gautam says, even behavior is also one point and how we should talk also, question mark.
Yes, I liked I don't know who brought this. I don't know who brought this up, but one of you brought it up. So an enlightened person will not behave like he's the me, the mind and the ego. One of you brought it up. I don't know who in your conversation. I think Ashok, I'm not sure who brought it up. The ego, the mind does not appear. So what Gautam is saying, a person's behavior, his demeanor, his aura is such that he will be a even if suppose somebody does something wrong, that person will not create a situation where it becomes so difficult that to forgive. The enlightened person is in a state of ever forgiveness. He is in a state of not at all getting angry. He doesn't get angry. He may get upset for a moment. use his temper, but he will.
AiR, we lost you.
Okay, anything else before we close? You got me? Administrator, you got me?
Okay.
Yes, AiR, we got you. One last question is there from Tushatma. Can
Yes.
we make thought our servant forever?
Can we make?
Thought our servant forever.
Yes, Tushatma, you have not been probably coming for last few days calls. You can make thought your servant forever if you cremate the mind. If you cremate the mind. What is the mind? What is the mind? The mind is nothing but the bundle of thoughts. The moment you are able to cremate the mind, that means you are not living in thoughts, you are living in consciousness. Thoughts become fish that swim in the ocean of consciousness. So Tushatma, when you are able to live in that state of, when you're able to live in that state of consciousness, then you become a master of thought. So, Administrator, you can hear me clearly, Administrator? Can you hear me?
Yes, AiR, all good.
So Tushatma, how can we become a master of thought? The enlightened being can become a master of thought. Because remember one thing, don't be fooled into believing that you can completely destroy thought. You cannot. You can cremate the mind. The mind is a bundle of thoughts. You can cremate the mind, but you cannot stop thought. That's why thought doesn't create karma. Thought should be stopped from becoming feelings and actions. If the shaitan, you know shaitan? If the shaitan comes alive, then thought will become words. You will spit out bad words and you will be in bad mood and bad action. But still, if you realize it and you take 2 steps back, then you have reversed that shaitan thought. You must always go back to consciousness. Go back to consciousness. So Tushatma, if you are able to go back to consciousness, go back to consciousness, go back to consciousness, then you have become a master of thought. You have destroyed your mind. Any other comments, Administrator?
Girish has made a few comments here.
Yeah, quickly read before we close.
Since ego gets annihilated, his actions do not result in binding karma when intellect becomes guided by soul.
Okay. So ego cannot be annihilated, Girish. Ego can be transcended. Ego cannot be annihilated. What is the comment on ego being annihilated?
Since ego gets annihilated, his actions do not result in binding karma.
No, if ego is transcended and we live as an instrument and our actions are that of a karma yogi, then we are not bound by karma. So Girish, I'm just changing the word slightly. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Next line, Administrator.
When intellect becomes guided by soul.
Intellect will never be guided by the soul. Intellect will come alive in consciousness, and consciousness is present, is the presence of the soul. The soul by itself, Girish, will not come and guide intellect. You agree with me, Girish? The soul is pure. The soul is Atma, is Paramatma. As long as, Girish, we eliminate the Indriya, the senses, we eliminate the mind and ego, the purity of the soul will reflect in our consciousness and influence the intellect. But by itself, the soul will not come and tell Girish, I'm your soul. This is how it should be. I hope you are with me on the same point. So, my dear friends, today I'm very happy with the session. We had a very interesting session. I don't know how many of you, any comments? Anybody wants to give a quick comment before we close? Did this session help you? And just few seconds, anybody found this session helpful? And did you learn from this session? Was it helpful? Should we do a little bit more of this? Over to you. Who would like to make any comments? And then we are going to close.
Shubham, it was helpful, but yesterday's helped me a lot. The bucket.
Okay. So Rekha says bucket was more helpful. Who else, please?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. No comment means no. Now I don't have to wait for it. Anybody wants to give a quick comment? We are closing in 30 seconds.
Sir, I lost my this one yesterday. I wanted to say something about my life in a bucket.
So tomorrow you will tell us tomorrow, because you didn't put up your hand
Yeah.
today. So tomorrow you will tell us, I hope.
Okay, I'll tell you tomorrow. Shivam, sir.
So it looks like more people enjoyed the bucket. That life with the bucket, what is in the bucket of life? But those of you who are advanced seekers of enlightenment, to me, today's session and all the analogies and all the contributions, I bow down to all of you, right from Sudeep, Samatma, Ashok Nichani, going up to Kumar Swami, Sunil Chittal, Girish. Each one of you has contributed so amazingly today in this session, including Rekha and Yogini, that I think that has made the whole session very, very, very fulfilling. And with that note, I bow down to you and look forward. I have to a better connection tomorrow, but we will see you tomorrow. Sip to all of you.